Right, should we start?
Yes, please.
Yes, you slimy little toad.
Westy's arrived and he's quite aggressive today.
Yeah,
Boisterous.
aroused.
Westy, open the show for us.
Hello, welcome to the podcast. It's going to be really good. Enjoy.
Brilliant. Roll the titles.
Fantastic.
Don't know how we can make that any better.
Well, we can make it better by doing it again, but I noticed that none of us have gone, should we do it again? All of us went,
No.
no, I'll do. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'll do. Now, boys, just a quick one, because we can't see into the future. Well, I can't. I'm pretty sure you can't. And Adam
Westy's
can't
got a
do it.
mate that can. Something
Brilliant. What's his
caress
name?
me. What was his
Well,
name?
no. He's a hypnotist. Doesn't mean you can see into the future.
Same thing.
Yeah, it's exactly the same thing, though. Yeah, hypnotist, see into the future. Easy. The reason I say we can't see into the future is last week we did a live episode of the podcast. And normally we'd be like, how's it gone? How did it go?
It was brilliant. Remember that
brilliant.
time that I said something inappropriate?
I do
Probably
remember
happened.
that, yeah.
I think the feedback speaks for itself, how good it was.
Sure. Absolutely. What are we talking about today, boys?
We're talking about whoop, whoop. It's the sound of the police. Whoop, whoop.
It's the sound
of the
of the
beast.
beast.
That's what we're talking about, mate. Got your mate coming on, haven't we?
We do have my friend. He was my first manager when I was same manager. He helped me loads when I first started gigging. He's an ex-policeman, which I thought we could do an episode on law and talk to him about different laws and help the people, the general public. What's he do now?
Yeah.
I rang him yesterday and said, we're doing a podcast on law. Do you want to come on? And it was 1 p.m. and he was drinking a craft beer in his pants.
So he does call.
Yes. No, he's just retired from the police.
Oh,
He's
okay.
just retired. Yeah, he's just retired.
How long was he in service?
I should know. I've been his friend for many, many years, but I do not
Sounds
know
like
the
you're
answer.
not really his mate.
Don't really know the answer to that question. Don't know that. But yeah, he's on later. We're going to talk about law. That's going to be good. Some fun laws. What else, boys?
Is it nights out? We've got some nights out shenanigans.
That's the next episode,
That's
Adam.
we got.
Oh, is it? What's
Yeah.
today then? I got questions for the police and funny videos. Don't make me laugh.
The next one is all.
That's the next one as well.
Is it?
Yep.
So what are we doing today?
Not a lot by the looks of things.
No, not a lot. No.
Have you written us
It's
any
just a chat.
plays, Ad? Have you written any stories for us?
I've got some just ideas in the pipeline, really, just a bag of ideas, really. But when Tom gives me the nod and
Stuff I can't
says,
talk about.
when he says, I need some more brilliance, then I'll just say, yeah, let me know when, and I'll get it sorted. So the pen is ready.
Phenomenal.
Of course it is.
Commit.
I kind of hoped. I did mention it to John. His name is, who's coming on the show. I mentioned to John that he would be on the show with Adam Westcott. I said, "Do you know who Adam is? He's one of the most famous flamenco guitarists in all the land." And John said, "No, I don't know who he is. Why would I listen to that?" So he didn't say that. But I did feel like I needed to say to him that there's a possibility Adam Westcott may have written something. I don't know. I didn't know you hadn't, and it's okay because I hadn't asked you to write something, but I didn't want him to come on and think,
Get your
God,
pen,
what-
Ad.
why am I now in a play?
Well, what we could do, should we do an impromptu thing, like they do in drama, like an
He would. I'm telling you now, Adam. I know John. You boys don't. When you meet him, you'll understand. He will hate that. Let's do it.
Let's do it. I mean,
improv.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think
Improv.
I think we just the law stuff off now and just do an improv.
Now, I've got two questions that I need to ask him that I've researched on some of the mad laws. So I
I've
would
got
like
some good ones as well.
Yeah, so we'll get them out and then we'll get improvising. So what's the scenario then? I'm a hotel manager. You're I'm a librarian.
he's come to arrest me because
No,
I've been a
Carl-
naughty boy.
Carl is a hobo.
What?
Yeah.
Because you got the
Why
beard.
am
You
I
said,
hobo?
Well, you just kind of fit the bill. I'm just saying that you've got the beard, and someone can bring the book in late, and the police, the police officers there.
Because it's improv, Adam, I don't think he needs to be a policeman.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
it's improv, Ad. Why are we already having the story?
Yeah. Shouldn't it just be, you're a greengrocer, I'm an angry customer who's come in who's got some mouldy apples.
Yeah.
Go. Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
Charing, we're closed. I think you have to be open for this.
Great if the greengrocers was just shut. Tring, we're closed. I think you have to be open for this to work.
That was a backstory we didn't agree on.
Oh my God, that's so good.
Right. Okay. Listen. Let's get John on. We'll ask him. We'll get the law stuff out the way. Get it bundled off.
Tom,
And,
Tom, before we go any further, have you ever been arrested?
Have I been arrested?
Adam, you have.
Yeah, of course
No,
I
I
have.
don't think I
Typical
have.
me.
Adam's been arrested for showing
trying to
those
think if I have.
abs of his.
No, I don't think I have been arrested.
No?
No.
I've
Have you?
Me? No. I'm a good boy, ain't I?
I've got in
Look at
trouble
his
with the police
face.
a couple of times. Got in trouble a couple of times when I was
Really?
younger.
Like
Yeah,
for
you know,
what?
like
What do you
drinking
do?
at the park and stuff like that. And
Hit the odd copper.
Yes, Ad. So come on, for drinking up the park and what?
I can't remember.
Smoking a doobie.
No, I didn't. No. But there was a copper that used to knock around this area, and he was called. We called him Nasty Nigel. I think he called himself Nasty Nigel.
Was he
And
like a
every single-
character in EastEnders?
No, like not like Dirty Den. God rest his soul. Or he is dead, isn't he?
No, I don't think he's dead, is he?
No.
Yeah, pretty sure Dirty
I was
Den
thinking
died
of Nasty Nick. He was a character, wasn't
on Big Brother.
Big Brother.
he? Oh, well, no. What was the Nick guy in EastEnders? What was him?
Oh yeah, Nick Cotton.
Nick Cotton. What was his nickname? He had a nickname.
Nasty Nick. It
Nasty
was
Nick.
Nasty
I
Nick.
was right, yeah.
It was, yeah. Who was the
Wow.
one in EastEnders who used to go, "Oh, hello, princess"? Was that Dirty Den or was
Alfie
that Nasty Nick?
Moon.
Don't think it was Alfie Moon.
I don't know.
Was it
It's
like
another one I
Mitchell
know.
Brothers? Was it Grant?
Don't think so.
Rick Mitchell.
Rick
How is this-
Mitchell.
How has this become a conversation about characters that used
you
to be
mean?
on
No, Ricky,
EastEnders?
no.
Sorry, Adam, what was that?
No, Ricky, no.
Oh, hello, Peggy. Can I come in the pub?
So, guys, it's time for the guest section. It's time for my good friend John. He's an ex-policeman, but don't hold that against him. Ooh.
Arrest me now.
That's what she said. Right, it's the guest section. Here he is.
All right, John.
Hello,
Hi,
how are
John.
you all, guys?
Hey.
Yeah, mate.
Cheers, guys.
Most of it.
Cheers, John.
Cheers. Are we having a drink?
Bit of Prosecco, mate.
Phenomenal.
3:05 in the afternoon. I love it.
Brilliant. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Awkward Turkey podcast. Mr. John, I'll call you John Hardwick, but it's not what you're in my phone as, John. You're in my phone as Johnny Legboot, and we'll come to that momentarily. But, John, this has got to be like a lifelong dream come true for you to be on a podcast with people you've not met before. How are you?
Yes, it's great. Yeah, I have no idea who these two guys are. I think I've seen both of you on the Saturday Night Experience, but we
Prime Watch.
Yeah,
Yeah, you are correct. Both of them had been on the self-isolation show. Adam Westcott is the good-looking guy with his hand in the air, and Karl Morgan is the slightly trampy one with what looks like strippers' poles behind his arm. Visual references for people who are listening on Spotify. I must apologise. Now, me and John, we met. Well, you tell the story, John, because we've been friends for a while, but we used to work a little bit together, didn't we? In the early days.
yeah. Do you want the long or the short version, Tom?
Long. We got loads of time to fill, John.
Yeah, we're looking for material this week. Looking for material, John.
It goes back to when about 2007. It must have been 2007, and my partner Kath, her best friend is Tom's mom, and Tom had finished on Hollyoaks, and he was singing. Do you remember this at the Orange Tree at Stafford, Tom?
I just interject and tell the boys what the Orange Tree is. The Orange Tree is a 2-for-1 pub, and the manager had decided to have a punt at doing some live entertainment. I was the aforementioned punt, and after
It rhymed with punt.
yeah, brilliant. Leave that one in. And I was having it was a tough crowd. I was right by where they collected their buffet stuff, but that was the gig. Sorry, John.
Yeah, no, and Kath had sort of said, Tom's mom would like you to come and see him singing. So yeah, obviously went down, and I think if I'm right, Tom, I sort of towards the end of the night, you didn't drive at that time, and I've always
didn't drive till I was 29, John. So
yeah.
I certainly wasn't driving at that time.
I've always been into music. I've always loved music, but I can't play at all. But I've always sort of loved.
He's got a bass guitar behind
sound
him.
and all that stuff. Yeah, there's a bass guitar behind me, which I'm trying to learn.
Bass, yeah.
I'm trying to learn that, but that's another story. And we sort of towards the end of the night, because I'd found out that Tom didn't sort of drive, and I love doing sort of sound and light and that kind of stuff, and never really had the opportunity to do it. I said, if you need somebody to drive you, give me a ring. I'd had a few pints. I thought I'll never, ever get a call. The next day, Tom rings me and says, can you drive me? And there starts the story that lasted for about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, it was mad. And at the time, John had, I don't know whether you've ever seen them, boys. And you'll take the when I tell you
it wasn't mine. It wasn't mine. It was Cat's.
Listen, it was the best vehicle I've ever been in. But he had one of the Generation 1 Fiat Multiplers. Do you know what they look like?
No,
I'll stick one up on the screen now, but for everybody who's watching at home. But if you haven't seen them, they look like a bubble car. It doesn't look like it was made from bits that should go together. They are the weirdest looking cars in the world. There was a collection of stuffed toys across the dashboard. Yeah, on the dashboard, and that's how it started. We drove.
It had 3 seats. It had 3 seats across the front, 3 proper seats across the front, and then 3 seats in the back. So
yeah,
it was really for just getting it was completely knackered. So we could go anywhere. We could go to any shit gig you liked. It didn't matter if people didn't like Tom and they give the vehicle a good kick in. It was probably going to make it look better.
I like this guy, Tom.
At the time, Tom didn't have much kit. He didn't have much
mate,
kit.
at the time, the PA that I had, and I'm just going to do this so that you guys can see now, because it makes way, way, way more sense when you can see it.
Brilliant.
That is a Fiat Multipler.
That.
But that's a brand new one, Tom.
Okay.
Look at the question.
Yeah.
Did you see the question underneath there? Share it one more time, Tom.
Oh, sorry.
Share it one more time.
What's the question?
Just share it one more time. And have a look at the question.
Is it possible to make the Fiat Multipler? But if you look at that car, look at it, because the back of it is a van, all right?
Yeah.
The side of it is like a Vauxhall Vectra. The wheels look like they belong on a Fiat 500. The front end of it, the front bonnet of it is Toyota Corolla all day long. Then there's like an extra bit of bonnet. There's 6 people in it.
The extra light by the wing mirror.
I don't understand it, but everything about it was perfect. It was perfect.
And the 3 back seats, you could take out, literally just take them out. But you had to be a weightlifter to get them out. Once you'd got them out, you had to somewhere to put them, because 3 seats once they're big seats. So that was the vehicle of choice for about 2 or 3 years before I invested in the Mercedes Vito van.
We had a Vito van when we started doing weddings.
The problem was Tom worked his balls off, because it was during the recession. So Tom worked his balls off to get gigs, and God knows how much you were being paid, Tom. It was probably about £5. But we were doing these gigs at 30, 40, 50 miles away, and if it hadn't been for that multiplier, we would not have done it. But then we started buying, because I just loved doing the sound and the light stuff. I started sort of getting lights, and we started buying more PA equipment and stuff. And it just became madness. I mean, at the end of the day, we've got probably one of the best light shows.
It was what we were putting out at the weddings towards the end of it, before I went and joined the band, was absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And John used to sit at the back and operate the lights, and he'd get really nervous about it. And I'd get nervous, and the way I would sort of dispel my nerves would be to come on and point all the attention at John to start with. And I'd tell everybody that John wears one of those shoes where they're slightly bigger than the other one.
Yeah, because I broke my leg. So my right leg is about 1.5 inches shorter. I broke it in a motorcycle accident. So I got this like boot. And that's another story, because when I first went to the hospital and they said, give us a pair of shoes so we can send off and get them adapted. And I'd got this pair of Caterpillar boots, big black Caterpillar boots. And they came back from the adapters. And I walked away from the hospital that day, and I walked to the car and I cried, because I'd got this lunk of concrete. I'm sorry to swear.
No,
It's
you
fine,
can
it's
swear as
fine.
much as you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, all good.
I just got this big boot.
Right.
Do you know what I did, Carl? Do you know what I did?
I know.
I took a photograph of that boot, and I rebranded mine and John's business with that as the logo. Called it Big Boot Productions.
John, why are you his friend?
And at the end of every show,
Why are you his friend, John?
when I used to thank the sound and lighting,
John,
I
you
used
seem
to
like a
point to the
nice
back.
guy. You
I used to point.
seem like you got, loads going on up there. I see the Lazarus poster. I see the bass. You seem like a switched on guy. Why the are you his mate?
Just let me tell you how I used to finish the gigs. So we'd finish. I'd go, and thanks very much at the back for, to John at the back, and John would sort of wave, and the audience would turn around and they'd clap. And I'd go, that's my last song, good night. And then on the mic, I'd go, I will stay and do one more, but only if John takes his big boot off. And he had to take it off and wave it round his head. Otherwise, I wouldn't come on and do another song.
Way.
Yeah.
That's not true, is it?
That's true.
There was a song, Tom. There was a song that you used to do, Tom, that you actually changed the words.
Oh, I used to change the words. If I could work into the lyrics of a song, something about John and his big boot, brilliant. I never, ever got fed up of talking about it. I was like, mate, do you have to buy two and throw one away? I don't know how it works. Do you get them as a pair?
John.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know how honest you want me to be, but it was a great journey.
But mate, we had some really, really nice ones, but we also had some absolutely awful ones in the early days. Like John said, we were coming off the back end of a recession, and I literally just sat with the yellow pages and rang pubs, and I was like, I'll come and do you one for free, and then you'll want to rebook, that type of thing. And we used to go to these. God, we'd turn up, and John would look at me and go, "How much do you need the money? As in, can we just turn this?"
Really?
I turned up at one pub, and I've got to be honest, guys. I thought it was closed down. I really thought it was closed down. It was all like barred up at the front, and we went in, and it was a shithole. And they'd got all these tables.
It was Tom's house.
Separate.
He was like.
And then when all these people started turning up, all the tables got put together. And at the end of the night, it was just a case of they were just all being sick everywhere. It was just, yeah. I mean, that was just one story of a million. But,
the one that sticks out, the one that sticks out for me, and we'll move on from gigs. But the one that sticks out for me was when we went to that. It was an Aston Villa away supporters pub.
Oh God!
I don't even mind naming it. I don't even mind naming it because I'm never going back ever again. I would do anything. But it was called the Cap and Gown, and God knows why they booked live music there. But I remember doing the whole gig just looking at the floor, because if I'd made eye contact with anybody whatsoever, they'd have taken my head off. And I played it once with John, and surprisingly enough, the next time they rebooked, John couldn't make that one. So bear in mind, I'm young. I'm young anyway. And my mum said, "Don't worry, I'll drive you." I said, "Wicked." So I went and did the gig, and I set up and everything else like that. And John had just invested in a brand new Soundcraft mixer, and it was box fresh. It still smelt new. And I got it into this pub, and I set it up, rigged all the speakers, and then the barmaid literally came up with a beer for me and poured it all over the mixer. Hadn't even sung a note. And obviously you've got two problems now. Number one, I've got to go back and say, "John, you remember that mixer you bought that hasn't been used yet? Broken." And secondly, I've now got a pub full of people who were already angry because they're in Aston Villa before I started, and I can't sing a note, can I?
He came back. I remember him coming back, and his mom. He came around with his mom, and it was the summertime, and I think we were out in the back garden here. You came back and you said, "Oh, well, it's, got some news," and you were like, "F yourself." And we actually just put a hairdryer on it, dried it out, and how long?
Left it out.
How long did you use that desk for? Because I think you used it with Take That.
Well, what I did, essentially, it was the height of summer, so just left the mixing desk outside in the sun to start with, then did the hairdryer stuff on it. We used that for another 3 or 4, maybe 5 years of me gigging solo, because I joined the band when I was 24. And then when I was 24, it was Take That mixer up until 28. And then even up until I think about 2 or 3 years ago, it still got travelled in case the main digi-mixer that we had went down. Like, it's still going. It's still going to this day. And it had a pint of Foster's thrown into it. Not just dribbled a bit in it, she threw the pint into it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did they not say sorry? Did they not say, "Oh, that's our fault, we'll sort you out"? Or did they just...
No, they went, "How are you going to sing now?" And
It wasn't that kind of pub.
Yeah.
It was just like, think of all the pubs that you would never go in your life, and we did all of them. All the pubs. It was just, it was a real difficult time. And, if I have any admiration for Tom about his work ethic, it was the fact that at that time, and I know I'm getting a bit serious now, but it was just so hard to get a gig. And he got one every week, but we did some real holes.
They were terrible.
If he never, I think that probably stands him in good stead for what he does now. But I really enjoyed that. And it was only when we moved to the weddings that I started to go, I can't really do any more. You've got to, move on. And fortunately at the time, you actually said, I've got this opportunity to go with the Take That experience. Because it ceased to be fun once you start doing a wedding. It's not so much fun, is it? Because it's quite serious. It's a big day. It's a big day.
Have you boys done weddings before?
Yeah.
1 or 2, yeah.
The thing about them is, for me, the entertainment is always pretty much last on the list of what they sort out when they're sorting stuff out. And you tend to you can either go and have the best experience ever, or you can go and, like, the worst one was when they used to do a wedding and they'd put the bar in the other room because everyone would just go where the bar is. Or, I don't know, I remember doing them at stately homes and you'd turn up and they'd go, "You can't use gaffer tape." And you'd be like, how am I going to stop everybody from, you know what I mean? Or how can we do it? I don't know. It got very serious because as soon as the money was good,
Do you remember that?
What was expected was so much higher.
Yeah. Do you remember doing that gig? It was this really nice sort of like country manor place. And we'd been asked to set up in the same room where they were having the meal. So all the table is laid and it's beautifully laid out. And we'd been asked to put the stage was behind the main table.
Yeah. And
at that point we'd got stuff where it took us about 2 or 3 hours to set up. So we spent about 2 or 3 hours setting up quietly and we got it all and it looked amazing. And then this bloke came in and had an epileptic fit. He was like, what are you doing? He was like the manager. He said, "What are you doing?" God, you've got 20 minutes. You've got 20 minutes to take it down because you can't have that behind. And fortunately, the bride came in and she goes, "Tom, that looks amazing."
Yeah. She
Remember?
saved us with that. But yeah, we'd set it up, and where the head table was, the wedding planner or whatever was concerned that you'd be able to see the stage in their pictures. And the woman who'd booked me had literally gone and come and seen it at a festival or something and gone, can you replicate that for my wedding? So you know what I mean? That's what we'd done. But there was a point where I thought we were going to have to take it all down. Definitely.
Tell us what you did for a living, aside from taking Tom around.
Just driving me around to the multiple.
I was a police officer for 30 years.
Wow.
And I retired, and it's really strange because I had a letter today from the chief constable. I retired in 2008, and the only reason I know the date is because he sent me the letter today, and it was on the 30th of September 2008. And then because the accident I had with my leg was at work. I'd broken my leg at work, and then I got a job on the 1st of October back in what is our major investigation department, dealing with sort of murders and stuff like that. And I just finished after 12 years. COVID and everything else has made me sort of realize that, it's time to go. So I'm fortunate, I'm very fortunate. I fully appreciate sort of you guys and the difficulties you guys have got with not being able to tour and gig and all that kind of stuff. But what I will say is I'm fully retired now. So if you do need anybody to drive you around and
you're the man to call.
I'm more than happy.
I'll be honest with you, John. It's a wonderful offer to have.
Yeah.
But
if we had any gigs, John, I'd give you a ring.
I was going to say, I don't have any gigs for a while.
But, if you want to keep rubbing that salt in our wound, John.
It was my 60th birthday last year, and Kath, my other half, had got us some tickets to go and see. Is it Adam Lambert and Queen?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we were due to go and see that last year, and then it was rescheduled for this year. And at 11 o'clock this morning, they've just cancelled it until next year.
Yeah.
So they'll all be dead by the time I get a chance to see it. But how are you guys? I mean, how are you guys coping or surviving?
Well, my main income is cruise ships, and they're just not going to go anywhere for a long, long time, I don't think.
For this year was supposed to be like a big touring year for my band, but it's gone. It's all out of the diary. It seems like we get the odd gig that comes in. Like I had one for February, gone. I've got one for April, gone. They want this. They're scattered around the year, but I can't see them going ahead because you need so many people to be vaccinated and safe, and then you're also stuck with how do you prove person A to person B is vaccinated to get in the venue, staff, so I can't see it.
I think it's a long way off.
It's a long way off.
But
we've all tried to do different things. So
I was going to just say we've all of us diversified what we normally do and tried to make it available either online or like this podcast was an idea that was, how can we continue to create content or be creative or have conversations like we're having now that people may or may not want to listen to, but how can we keep doing that when we're not able to stand on stage and tell a funny story that's happened or you know what I mean, sing a song. So it's I think it's been a negative time, but I also think it's been super positive because, like, I know Carl's released music. I know Adam's started pushing a book that he wrote a few years ago. I know I've released albums. So I think it has given us that sort of, when the pressure's on, when the chips are down, when all that sort of stuff happens, you get that sort of, it's fight or flight. Okay, I've got to do something or this all stops. I won't, you know what I mean? And I think some of it's potentially us trying to stay relevant to the people who listen to our music or watch our acting or whatever it is. And I think some of it is also needing a creative outlet. And I think certainly it's the reason I'm good friends with Adam and with Carl, is that they haven't just sort of laid down and gone, oh, this is terrible. We've all gone, right, okay, how can we continue to be mildly entertaining. And if you watched any of the previous episodes, that's normally with me drawing a cartoon Willy on something in the podcast.
Correct,
but
sir.
that isn't happening this
But
week.
also it's the idea that it sounds cliche and it sounds cheesy, and I'm not normally the guy to admit to stuff like this, but what gives us fun here does seem to give it, people that watch it equal amounts of fun and bring happiness to others. So as much as it's great we sit here on a Wednesday and chat and have fun as mates, then also it goes out on a Sunday, and then people also it gives relief to their week as well. So that's a nice feeling to know you're not only when it's not only us that are getting something from it, you're then putting something out there and someone else gets a bit of relief from normal day-to-day life.
Yeah, because it is just
this shape for everyone. We know
it
that.
Is, and it is just a hamster wheel for everybody, isn't it? You know, it's so difficult, and some of us are more fortunate than others that we've got better places to live when it's, but it must be really, really difficult for some people.
Yeah.
For some people, and for you guys, is it exciting? Do you look forward to excitement to being able to go back, or does the longer it goes on, do you become more nervous about having to step out on stage?
Let me take that one, because I feel very, very differently, I think, to the other boys. I'm saying that because we've talked about it before. I feel the longer it goes on without me having to get in my car and drive for 5 hours and you know what I mean, and do all the stuff that's not the gig. The gig is never the problem, but do all the other stuff that goes with it, like living in a hotel 220 days of the year, or you know what I mean, being away from friends and family and stuff like that. I've got very used to being home. I've got very used to seeing my mum and spending time being creative on stuff here, and the amount that I was away in the last 10 years, I don't miss that one bit at all. Yes, I miss standing on stage. Yes, I miss, working on something big, but I don't miss all the stuff that comes with it. And I haven't at all. A lot of people have said to me, I want to get in my car and go for a drive. I don't. Not at all. Not at all. I'm quite happy to not drive to Scotland or drive to London or whatever. You know what I mean? I love the gig, but I've really, really loved being at home.
I think I just worry about how it's going to go back, what's going to be the new norm, because it can't go back to the way it was. It can't go back to, even last year, I played some spot slots at like festivals and stuff, like social distanced festivals, but they weren't. That's the truth of it, is that they weren't. And then the country gets into to state because people, they have a couple of drinks and they, everyone's your best friend kind of thing.
But it can go back to that. If you look at Australia and Isle of Man and New Zealand, my mate's a bass player and he just did a stadium for 4,000 people, gigging all the time. It's the football matches, football stadiums, tennis, everyone's back in there. And it can work if everyone sticks to the rules. But
we all know through record at the moment, that doesn't happen.
Exactly. So the vaccine is the only way.
Where are we going to be when we get back? Because
I think you probably might be lucky with the cruise ships in so much as I totally agree with that idea of that you'll go cruising and you won't be allowed to leave the ship, and that you'll be able to have some control over the way, or the vaccination and stuff like that. But the sort of the smaller gigs and the festivals, that is going to be so difficult. I think the places like New Zealand, Australia, they're very lucky, aren't they? They can isolate themselves. We are.
They also, John. They also have a population of people who, as British people, we tend to do this quite a lot. But when we're told to do something, there's a little bit in our British minds that go, you know what I mean? I'm not saying I haven't followed the rules. I've done it the same as everybody else here has. But I'm just saying, as a country, we don't really listen to the government as much as other countries do.
Yeah, and also we've been too slow. We've been too slow. They're now going to introduce this staying in a hotel thing. Well, Australia did that 7 months ago. Yeah. So, and now we still got a week.
A month ago, remember we were in March right now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, there's that to it. I think we've done things 7 months too late. We've been too slow and too soft. Is my opinion. It's just dragged on and on and on and on.
Adam Westcott for president, I say.
Oh,
putting
could
it
we
out
do
there.
that? We could do that.
Adam Westcott for prime minister or president. Can have either. You can call yourself whatever you want, Dad.
Health secretary.
Maybe we put together like a little Kickstarter campaign.
Oh, God.
You haven't got a shirt and tie back there, have you had? You can
We
check
could do
on for
that.
us.
We could do that, and we could
Somewhere.
get him to change his name, even if he doesn't win, to
I think
President Westcott.
I think whatever happens at the end, that you should all get together, do a live gig, and I can drive.
You can do the lights for us, John.
There
Yeah.
we go.
Security and lights.
So,
Yeah.
John, this was the idea that me and Carl had. We said, because when we thought that this year was going to pan out a little bit differently and we were going to be
Yeah,
able
this
to
was
be-
September last year, wasn't it, Tom?
Yeah. We said what a great idea it would be to hire a venue, and at that venue, we sell some tickets and we do the podcast live from that venue. So we set up a table in the middle and we have we record it there and people can come and watch it. And then either side of those episodes being recorded, I do some of my new music, Carl does some of his new music, and it's kind of, you come and watch the podcast be recorded and you also see some live music as well. And if we do that, absolutely, I think that would be the way we celebrate coming out of whatever this is, whenever this is.
Adam brings his little guitar with his drawings on them.
I don't think it's little, I just think Adam's really
You
big.
can bring the bass, John. Slap at the bass for all the fans.
I want to do a couple of things, John, with you while we're on the show. And number one is the reason that we got you on is because we found some incredibly crazy laws that exist on the internet. Adam Westcott's got a couple. Have you got a couple, Carl?
Yeah,
I've got a couple.
Yeah.
Of just mental laws. And I wanted to ask you if you either knew that they existed or if you basically just get a policeman's opinion, ex-policeman.
So you want sensible answers, not.
No. You go mad because some of them are mad, and then also we've got a little section coming up that we decided about 10 minutes before we started that you're going to absolutely love.
Okay.
Westy, do you want to explain some of the weird laws that you found? These are actual things that are actual law, and I think they might have just been actioned years and years and years ago, maybe hundreds of years ago, and just they've not been corrected and they still exist.
Son?
I was going to say, I've got one that in Florida, it's illegal to fart in a public place after 6 p.m. on Thursdays.
Lies. That's a lie.
No.
I've done it. I've been to Florida and I've fluffed after 6 p.m. in a public place. So eat it.
So
Well, actually,
John,
technically, you're not allowed to be drunk in a pub. There's a rule that came in 1872. It says it is illegal to be drunk in a pub. The legislation adds every person found drunk on any licensed premises shall be liable to a penalty. I mean,
Is that true, John?
How does that work, John?
Yeah, it's down to the licensee. If it's still in effect, if God, you tested me, it's like God's sergeant's exam. I think if I'm right, that's down to like the licensee refuses to serve you, and then he asks you to leave. And once he's asked you to leave, if the police are in attendance, then you get taken out. But yeah.
But everyone in a pub on a Saturday night, for example, most of them are going to be drunk, aren't they? Or
Yeah, but it's how you behave.
What about this, John? Mince pies cannot be eaten on Christmas Day.
Where's that one from?
These aren't real laws, are they?
They are.
HomeLearning.uk. That's from. So, what about that, John?
No,
Never arrested someone for eating a mince pie on Christmas Day.
I never issued a ticket for that, or
Not doing your job right, John. Not doing your job right there.
Yeah,
I've got
And
one.
here's another one. I got another one. Hang on. Pregnant women are allowed to relieve themselves in policeman helmets. True.
I've heard that too. That pregnant women are
it's
allowed to
real.
have a wee.
It's a real thing, John.
In the hats that look like a boob.
Yeah. So if a pregnant woman ever comes up to you and goes, "I'm gonna need your hat,"
yeah,
gotta give it.
yeah,
Gotta give it.
yeah. Never happened.
No.
I've got to say, I did cheat because I went online last night.
Don't put this in.
Are you aware in Scotland? I think in Scotland, check it. If you knock on somebody's door, you can ask to use their toilet.
But do they have to let you?
Yeah.
Because I mean, if someone knocked on my door and said, "Can I use your toilet?" They can ask me. Or am I going to say no? Am I John?
Yeah, but can you imagine if it was during the lockdown or just before lockdown, and you'd got, I've got to go. We've got no toilet paper, so I'll go and knock on their door, go and use their toilet, and then steal all their toilet paper.
You can see
they're in trouble for something else there, John.
He's inside the mind of a criminal.
That crocheted little sort of doll thing that used to cover the new toilet roll is lying on the floor, just abused because you've stolen the roll.
So I've got a couple. I've got another one, right? It's illegal to handle a salmon in suspicious circumstances.
That sounds about right. That does.
These are American laws, because I looked at some in America.
This is on the independent.co.uk.
In Switzerland, it's illegal to flush your toilet after 10 p.m.
I've got one.
It's illegal to jump the queue in a tube ticket. Sorry.
It's against the law to have a sleeping donkey in your bathtub after 7 p.m. This is an Arizona law.
Wow.
In Turin, in Italy, it's against the law to not walk your dog 3 times a day.
3 times a day.
You have to do it, or you're breaking the law.
Yeah.
What? Who's going to keep count?
I've just read here, John, in Scotland, if someone knocks on the door and requires the use of your toilet, you must let them enter.
Can you imagine turning up on somebody's door with a magazine?
In Glasgow?
In a magazine. Can you imagine Bob turning up with a magazine under his arm and saying, I've got to use your toilet, guys. Got to use your toilet. And it's a small flat, and you get into the bathroom and the window doesn't open, and the walls are like plasterboard, and the lounge is next door.
You wouldn't let him in. I'd take the ticket. You just wouldn't let him in. You wouldn't let him in.
If it was in Sweden, you couldn't let him in after 10 anyway, because it's illegal.
And moving away from laws, and just really quickly on to the last thing, John, and then we'll wrap up this wonderful second week of March episode, which we were going to call Law and Order, but I don't know what we'll call it now, because
we're going to call
Law
it
and Order part.
Whoop whoop. It's the sound of the police.
I think
it's
we're
the
probably
sound of the beast.
I think we're probably not going to do that because of copyright issues. Yeah. Makes my edit quite long. But John, what we decided to do, because I mentioned to you when we spoke on the phone yesterday about you coming on the show, I said Adam Westcott occasionally writes scripts, and those scripts take various different forms and directions. You're in luck this week. He hasn't written a script. I'm pleased. But the alternative is
good. It's just I'm just pleased.
But the alternative is what we're going to finish with, and we're going to do a little section which will require a jingle, Carl.
On it.
Which is called, should we call it Improv Corner? Improv Corner.
Whatever you want, mate.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. This is Improv Corner. So what's going to happen, John, is I'm going to...
you look like you're a bit upset by that, mate.
What, me?
Yeah, you all right?
No, I'm just like thinking, what is this?
We all are, John.
We all are.
We are. This is the first time it's been on the show, and me saying that means that it may this could be a keep it or delete it.
This could go horribly wrong.
All right, John, you can give a scenario for me and Adam Westcott, a character each and a scenario.
Okay.
It can be off the top of your head. It doesn't matter what it is.
Off the top of my head, Adam, you're looking to buy a car, and you're going into a bit of a sort of shady car dealer, and you're meeting Tom, and Tom is the owner of this shady dealership, and you're looking to buy something.
Okay. Can we do accents?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Here we go. Good morning. What's going on? Looking for a car.
Sorry, sir, we're closed.
You have to be open for this.
Go on, come in again.
Ching. Good morning. My name's. I'm looking for a Volvo 2-litre. Talk to me.
You're in a very, very dodgy end of town here, mate. You sure you should be round these parts looking for a Volvo? I'll kick your bleeding teeth in, you.
This is.
Not sure this is going to be.
This won't make it in. This isn't going to make it in. I mean,
all of a sudden we find out it's not based in Scotland; that it's based in London.
Go on, come in again, Adam. Come in again.
All right, I don't think I'm going to do the accent. I was going to be me. Just be yourself. Talk about what you know. All right. Hi, just looking for a car. Didn't know if you could help me, please.
What sort of car are you looking for, mate?
Something with wheels.
Something with wheels. Looks like we got ourselves a bit of a comedian. You better get the out of here before I cut you open, you.
Does it always drop to this level?
Yes. You can clearly see John. We're wrapping it up now.
Yeah, and you can see that I'm not an actor in any way, shape, or form.
I think I'll leave it in. There will just be a lot of beeps in that part.
Brilliant.
Of beeps in that part. John, thank you so much for coming on the Awkward
Thanks,
Turkey
John.
podcast.
If when it all gets back to normal, or as normal as it will ever be, that if you ever decide that you're going to do a gig or you're ever struggling, then I've retired now and I just love it. So I'll help.
What a legend.
Anybody that needs a help, I'll give them a help.
Thank you,
Well,
John.
This goes out on the internet, John, so not so sure you want to announce that, but nice of
not
you.
anybody, just
nonetheless.
you three guys. Just you three guys.
Just us three. As Mr. John Hardwick, Mr. Adam Westcott, Karl Morgan, say goodbye to everybody, then let us drop the mics in the way that is traditionally expected of us at the end of an episode. And
Anything
Adam,
to drop there, John?
Got anything to drop?
Prosecco glass, maybe?
I've got a little
That'll do.
ladybird.
That'll do. Grab yourself something,
Perfect.
Ad. Got
Grab
anything,
something
Ad?
to drop
Got a
out.
marker pen.
Oh, what's that, Ad?
It looks like a dildo.
What is
Marker
that?
pen.
Oh, it's a marker. We're all right.
Oh, it's a marker. It's a marker. We're okay. Okay. Go into
And-
mic drop.
Goodbye.
Ah.
This is